Hi, everybody. I wanted to apologize for the audio in this podcast episode. I don't know what happened, but my mic was not working and all of the sound came either off of my iPad or my computer, and it just was echoing. I did the best that I could to kind of clean up the audio, but I just apologize. And next week we will be back in tip-top shape. I'm so sorry, but enjoy the new view because the background looks amazing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cozy Girls Club, the podcast. I'm your host, Michaela, and if this is your first time, this is the coziest podcast on the internet. We're just going to get that out of the way. But over here, we shift our mindsets, we grow with purpose, and we build with cozy vibes always. Today, we are talking about building a business without hustle because hustle is not in our vocabulary. But before I do that, I want to talk about some highlights from this past week for me. I also want to start doing your highlights of the week. So when you have a highlight, put it in the comments, DM me on Instagram, go on Threads and thread post me. I don't even know what that would be, but I guess tag me in a thread or whatever. But let me know what your highlights are so I can start including them in this segment. But some highlights this week. One, I got a new phone. I got the iPhone 16 Plus in pink. It's so cute. I love the pink color. I don't love this case. I had to put this little black thing on my phone because I got a new car mount that charges your phone, and because this is not a MagSafe case, it wasn't working, so I had to use this little black thing, and I hate it. But the case that I'm getting that is been in the mail, I ordered it the same day I got my phone, or the same day I ordered my phone. So I've been waiting for that case for almost a week. Literally, I think when it's supposed to get here will be a week. But I love this phone. It's such an upgrade from what I had. I was 4 generations behind in the iPhone. So this one, even though it's not a Pro Max, just feels so elevated from my Pro Max. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it was so old. I don't know. But I love it. I love the pink color. And I'm super happy about it. Another highlight this week is that, oh my gosh. So I posted my merch on my stories just to be hey, just so you guys know, I announced my merch on my podcast. And the amount of feedback I got, not oh, you should do this or you should do that, but the amount of I'm going to purchase was so crazy to me. And it just kind of showed me that it's really important to build a community and not just a following. I think we get stuck on seeing numbers and almost embarrassed to be hey, I'm a content creator and I only have 327 followers. That could be kind of embarrassing to say just in this day and age. But my community is so loyal that I just feel it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I only have 327 followers. Those 327 followers are loyal and they want to support me and they want to see me succeed. And I just am so grateful for that. But of course, we're always growing there and here on YouTube and Spotify and everything. I'm just so grateful that we get to talk about this building a business without hustling, because that's exactly what I did. So grab your blankets, grab your coffee. My coffee is all the way over there, so I will not be drinking it this episode. But grab whatever it is that makes you feel cozy, and we can have a cozy little chat together. So if you feel the only way to succeed in your business is to work 24/7, I get it 100%, but that's not sustainable, and it doesn't have to be that way. You can build something beautiful without the hustle culture mindset. So I'm going to share a little bit of my personal story with businesses that I ran in the past, the things that I've learned where my mindset is concerned, where my limits are concerned, and the things that I set in place to help my business stay sustainable and feel good to me. So the first thing that I think that you should do in any situation is see what your mindset is. How does your mind work? How do you process life? And that's what I had to do in every single business, but in this specific story, I'm talking about me running a luxury press-on brand. I ran this brand for 3 years. It was my pride and joy for a very long time. To this day, people still see me as a nail artist and not like a video editor or a content creator. And this year, I'm definitely coming out of that. Side note, I was with my cousin this like past weekend and she was talking to somebody and she was like, yeah, she's like, she does content and like influencing. And I was like, the fact that that is something that somebody, like, when somebody says that about you, like that's what you do and that's what you're like trying to do, it just feels good. So I guess one person sees me that way. So in this business, I undercharged, I overworked, and I overcommitted. And putting all of those things into a pot, stirring it up, and drinking it gives you burnout. Literally, that's what happened to me is I just burnt out completely. Before my husband and I moved, I had like a whole room that was my nail space. And when we moved, a lot of my friends and family were like, "Where are you going to put your nail stuff?" And I was like, "I don't know." But I was in that mindset of I'm not doing nails anymore. Like that was just kind of where my mindset was shifting because of this burnout that I felt. And the way that my brain worked was that I had tunnel vision. So with tunnel vision, basically like just think of a tunnel and you're looking in the tunnel and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you can't see anything else. That's it. You just see that end goal, and so you're doing everything in your power to get to that end goal without really seeing the consequences of anything. Overworking and overcommitting definitely sends burnout to you, but also when you're not getting paid what you should be getting paid, that also has a big part of burnout. I know we probably don't, we're like, oh yeah, it's fine, like it's okay, I'll make the money when I can. But it's like, no, when you're good at something, you should be charging what you're worth and also checking what everybody else in the industry is charging. I wanted to be an affordable press on nail artist, but I was labeling my stuff as salon quality. So my stuff had to be and was salon quality. I was using tips that they used in salon. I was only using gel polishes, not lacquer polishes. I was only doing high-end things, but charging like it wasn't high end. But when you say salon quality, that means that people are still going to have to pay salon quality prices. Everything that I was doing, I was overworking, I was overcommitting, I was getting paid and then having to put it right back into my business instead of like enjoying the fruit of my labor. I truly enjoy doing nails, but at a point it was like, how many nail sets am I gonna have to do before I actually see like income in my pocket? It was just constantly going back into the business, and I was like, this is not gonna be sustainable for me. So tunnel vision doesn't have to be bad, but it shouldn't be your driving force, because once you get to the light at the end of the tunnel, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like that was crazy. And you're gonna see this, like, you're either gonna see this huge success or this like thing that didn't really go the way that you planned for it to go, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so burnt out. And so when you see that success, you're gonna like be burnt out to where you can't really do anything within that success, or you're going to be so burnt out from trying and not seeing anything that you're just like, I'm over this completely. So the turning point, or I guess more of like what I took going into this new business, into 1008 Creations as a video editing business, was I needed to figure out what was burning me out and why I couldn't stay consistent with the things that I enjoyed doing. I would get burnt out and go months without touching nails. So what I realized is that it was okay to have that tunnel vision, but it couldn't be my driving force because it was literally forcing me into hustle culture. I needed time for my brain to relax from work, even in the middle of that tunnel vision. So that meant stopping when I said I was going to stop and not doing anything work related until next business day. So once I figured out my mind and how my mind worked, I needed to figure out my limits. And those limits were, what are my mental limits, what are my financial limits, and what are my branding limits? I can't think of another like term for that, but my mental limits were not overworking and and over committing. Like I just had to know, okay, what can I actually do in this amount of time without burning out? My financial limits were, let me not buy the highest box of nail tips on the market right now, and let me just stick with like maybe a medium one that's like medium. It doesn't have to be a $5 box of Amazon, but it also doesn't need to be a $30 box. It's being smart with how you move your stuff so that way you can actually see a profit. For my branding limits, I realized that I would do collabs. I would take every opportunity to work with other people just to put my name out there. And that's not always the best thing to do. Not just because you can start lining up with people that don't align with your brand and like what you stand for, but you can also just kind of confuse your audience. I'm branding myself as this cozy girl who wears fancy nails. I should be cozy all the time. My nails were usually neutrals. I like to have nails that match everything, kind of like I could put on any outfit and the nails aren't clashing. That's usually how I like to wear my nails. But then I would start like linking up with brands that loved color, and color nails are so pretty, but it's just not me, and it's not what I would do for my clients. I just never did neon hot colors for my clients. So now not only am I confusing my clients and my audience, but I'm also not feeling what I'm doing. I'm not feeling aligned with my business. So the biggest shift that I found was just because I can do something, just because I can afford, or just because it looks like I can afford this, or just because it looks like I can collab with this person, or this door is wide open for me to walk through, or just because it looks like I can continue to push through, doesn't mean that I should, and doesn't mean that I always can. Putting all of these limits together, knowing all of these limits, when you push past them, all of that is hustling. All of that is part of that hustle culture. Because if you're trying to have the best, be the best right out the gate, and you don't have that budget for whatever it is, like let's take content creation for example. I feel like a lot of times people think I need to invest in a laptop so I can edit. I need to invest in a camera so I can have better quality videos. And while yes, you can, but if you don't have the financial means to do that right now, just use your phone. You can edit on CapCut. You can use your phone for quality, or your phone, just learn how to use the settings, learn how to light, and you will have quality content. You're staying within that financial limit. You're not hustling to get to the top. You're not wasting a bunch of time, energy, money to try to get to the top quickly, because that's what hustle culture is. It's trying to get somewhere very high, very quick. There are so many things that are just so great when you build slow. So for a while, I definitely thought that slowing down or not getting the best of the best or pushing past my limits meant that I wasn't serious about my business. But now I look back and I know I have made this business more intentional. It has more meaning. I can be more creative. And honestly, I'm a better business owner. There's power in saying no and not right now and waiting for the things to come. So once I learned my mindset, once I learned my limits, I was able to then put systems into place that worked with my mind, but also allowed me to set boundaries with myself and with my business. So that way I didn't burn out and not ever want to touch an editing program ever again. So one of my biggest things, which if you've been here for a while, if you follow me, you know that setting a schedule for work is key. I work 10 to 6. And if I decide one day that I'm going to go out, or I'm not going to work, or sometimes I don't even really have anything to do, like my day might not be that busy, instead of filling it with work, I will actually take that time off. So I just have this really big thing that I'm not working past this time, and I will not burn myself out or work late hours for anybody. Not even myself. If I'm not doing my content late at night, I'm not doing somebody else's content late at night. And a part of this working schedule is also scheduling for other things as well. I don't really schedule when I'm going to clean my house or things around the house, but I do have kind of like rough time estimates. Like, this is when I want to be eating breakfast. This is when I want to be eating lunch. This is when I want to be cooking dinner. Things like that. But because I do multiple things for my business, I also do content creation for myself. I also edit for other people. I do have to set a schedule within my schedule. So like on Tuesdays, that's my content day. That's when I work on all of my content. I catch up on all of my client stuff on Mondays, but Tuesdays I take that day to record things for myself, to edit everything, schedule everything. That way I can have the rest of the week to do client work, or if I'm not that busy, I'll take off and just have a good old time resting. But just being intentional with your time is the biggest thing for me, because I wasted so much of it when I was doing nails that I was living to work at that point. My whole identity was wrapped up in being a nail artist, and I don't want that now. Yes, I love what I do. I love this profession, but I don't want to be so wrapped up in this that's all that I do. That's all that I'm known for. I have other hobbies and interests and love for life that I love sharing with family and friends and even you guys. I think that sometimes we can think that organization or setting schedules and all these things just kind of puts you back in that box of working a 9-to-5 or a corporate job. But really, putting these systems in place gives you freedom. If you think about a 9-to-5, you go in from 9 to 5 and you're working those hours, but after 5 o'clock, you're home. They can't call you and say, hey, you need to come in. No, sir, my shift is over. You are free after that. The same with scheduling your own stuff. It gives you so much freedom because you're able to not only have that scheduled time, but then know, okay, I get to have this time off later, but you also can flex it. Like, you are in charge. Putting a hour limit of the week, like if you want to work 40 hours a week, I think that as a business owner, I think I probably work 50 hours a week, I will say. But I put that 50-hour cap on, and the rest of the time I get to just enjoy life. So the goal isn't to be productive 24/7. That's not our goal. The goal is ease. It's when you're working, you're fully there. You're fully present in what you're doing. But when you're resting, you're fully resting. So if you take anything away from this episode, I want it to be this. You don't have to burn yourself out to build something beautiful. For this week's check-in, I actually want to do kind of like a little reflective moment, or like if you're a journaler, like journal this. I think that would be cool to like just have people like journaling. Oh my gosh, being a podcaster is so cool. Take a second to think about like what actually works for you. So like what feels natural, what drains you. So if this episode resonated with you, I want to know about it. Let me know in the comments below. I also am so thankful for everybody who chooses to support this podcast through Instagram, through Threads, through Ko-fi, through subscribing, everything. Like, I just am so thankful for every single one of you. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, rate the podcast everywhere. It lets me know, and YouTube and Spotify and all the people know that this is a good podcast to listen to and to keep pushing out. So let's keep doing that. There's also a Ko-fi page below where you can buy me a coffee, and that supports this podcast 100%. And I truly appreciate everybody who chooses to support in that way. Also, I completely forgot, y'all, I painted my wall blue and I absolutely love it. So if you're not watching and you're just listening, you don't know, but I painted my wall blue and it's so nice and so classy. I don't know, I just really like it. But yeah, so all that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and until next time, don't forget to stay cozy, and I'll see you next week. Bye.